Hey everyone, it's another update on my layout, the east end of the HO Skate Wheeling in Lake Erie. As you can see, I have had some time due to the current, what crisis are we on now? The COVID crisis. So, anytime I haven't been at work, I have been working down here. So I have gotten a few things done since the last video, and let's go through it now. You can see we're facing west, the west end of the Rook Yard. I've discovered I have enough space to fit one in, so I am going to cut out a section of the track right where the feeder wires are. You see them. Between the box car and the feeder wires, I'm going to put another switch in so I can actually put the mainline track to be double track as it once was whenever the Wabash Terminal built this line. So I don't know how many of you know it, but Pittsburgh, West Virginia didn't build the entire line. The Wabash Terminal built all the way up to, I believe, what is now the current switch for the Clairton branch. The PWV eventually built east of that to Connellsville. But anyway, back to the video. I'm going to double track that, punch through that wall, and build a nice long viaduct out there so I can simulate running a nice long either coke train or a mixed train in from either Brewster or even Westland. So we continue on moving east through the yard. And yes, I haven't done anything with the diesel fueling facility up top, as I am still planning it and waiting on fueling cranes. And once again, excuse the mess. I have been working down here, so cleaning up hasn't exactly been on my top priority. Here's a new scene. As you can see, I have modeled this section right here with the trailer, as though this was an old entrance to the Rook Yard, and what would have been the site of the turntable and roundhouse for the Pittsburgh West Virginia Railway. On the real one, I don't know how many of you have seen it, but if you look at it on Google Maps, you can still see where the bays were for the roundhouse. Let's move east. As you can see, I have a few more sections of ballast done. I picked up a couple more, where I now have 2 River Point Station F-150s in the far top of the layout. Those will eventually be lettered for the Wheeling Lake Erie. Here's something new. I don't know how many of you have been next to Rook Yard. This would be my representation of Hawthorne Street. And yes, there are a couple houses that are very similar to these on that exact street facing the yard. While this isn't a perfect representation of it, I think you get the feel of it. Eventually I will blend that road into the background. We'll go from there. As you can see, I got more of the divider between Hawthorne Street and the rail yard done. I still need to paint the curb the correct concrete color, but as soon as it comes in, or actually as soon as I order it, I will do that. And we move back so you can see more of the yard. And as you can see, I've put some of the foliage in the front and the middle. So that is something that most people who have a yard don't consider. Just because there is ballast in the yard doesn't mean that weeds will not grow, because, well, they will. Weeds grow anywhere that there is soil. Trust me on that. Here you'll see what is the beginning of the, the auto loading and unloading facility that once stood at Rook. East end of the yard, the old tower, or what would be considered plausible to have a tower at the end of the yard, going east towards Mifflin. And as I have said before, this bridge piece is not permanent, or it is going to be eventually permanent. But as soon as I do some house renovations, this will be properly supported and blended in as a piece of scenery. So we shall move east further. As you see here, we have the entrance to Mifflin Junction with the Union. And track at the track level. So you have the points dividing, and then the Union beginning the run up where it does interchange with the Wheeling, and the Union interchanges with the Union, vice versa. So we keep moving east. And yes, that is the bridge that sits over Brownsville Road Extension in Baldwin. And that is Brewston Station right behind it. Those two pieces will be on the layout, but I still need to figure out where exactly I'm going to put them. As you can see, the branch behind there curves. I think it's pretty even grade, and it will be part of the operations whenever I get to that point. As you can see from the last video, I have put in a siding here as well. Most likely this will be warehouses or a bottling factory to mimic the Spoonwood facility, but moving it further up. Although if I put the warehouses in that were originally served by the PWV above the 5188 interchange out by the Liberty Tubes, that would be pretty more realistic. So we keep moving east. This is all new since last video. Much like the real one, once you pass the Mifflin Junction, you enter a grade. Although unlike the real one, I had to shorten it a decent amount and curve it. So, as you can see where the truck is, that will be a representation of the many overpasses that the PWV built into the hillside for local road traffic. Now we move east. This will be, for anyone who is not familiar with the area, Willis Road crossing, right outside, right where it intersects with Horning and one other road. And no, I did not make this angle up. This is fairly accurate to the actual crossing. And it's fairly easy to believe, but at the same time it's kind of mind-boggling. Someone recently got hit here by a wheeling train doing 10 miles an hour. Yeah. Well, as you can see, I have gotten a few things done. Next up is putting the crossing in. After putting more of the plaster cloth down to make the whole area level, and bring it up to make it more mountainous looking, and then going from there. So there's been some progress, but not a ton. And yes, this is all wired up, so it's all ready to go. It just needs to be ballasted. So yeah, as we take a walk back, you can see I've got a pretty decent run as it is right now. Here we go, just one last overview of the yard. Hopefully by the next video there will be even more progress, so keep tuning in. I hope you liked the video.